Hey everybody, I'm AdamHarry with
Clint.
We're from BoLS, and we are here today with the brand new Kharadron Overlords Battletome. We got our steampunk dwarves, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it.
These are our favorite steampunk sky pirate Urgle chasing stunties in space, sort of.
They just look so cool.
They
They
are.
really do.
They are. These are one of my favorite, aesthetically, one of my favorite armies in the game. When they came out, early days of everything, they were just such a unique looking update to the army. It wasn't like they took old dwarves and just kind of redid them.
Yeah.
This was like aesthetically, GW did a great job updating everything, this army, and just made a really unique thing. We don't see
absolutely. Hashtag not squats.
Totally not. Totally not. But they are really, really cool. These guys are known for their firepower. They shoot you good.
They shoot you real good.
They've got some, some new rules, which we will touch on. But yeah, for now, check out this table of contents here. We are going to go through the book and hit some of the highlights. We are not going to go page by page because that's not how we roll. But it's got some cool stuff in here. Starting off, we do get more background information. Again, if you have the previous book, lore sections in there. Similar stuff here. They did make some changes though. They kind of have moved the storyline forward a little bit, so you kind of get the old lore with some new stuff in here, which we'll point out. I also want to point out when we're flipping this book, take a look at some of the artwork because it's a different style than I've seen before from GW.
Yeah.
So, and I'll point that out when we get to it. But moving on here, flipping through again, really cool artwork, background lore information for all of the overlords. This kind of talks about their reemergence, if you will, because they were one of the few armies that, or few factions, I guess, that was just floating around the mortal realms.
Yeah, they kind of missed the Soul Wars.
Yeah. This is a really cool thing. If you're aware or familiar with the Kharadron Overlords, you know that they kind of operate by a code. And sometimes it's more of a guideline, but it is a code, and it's kind of neat because they get together and they offer up these amendments and article changes to the code. And so this is just a neat thing. You can see here's some of the famous skyports represented by their leaders and their changes to their articles in the code, which is really cool. And you'll see this theme throughout the rest of the book too, where their special thing is every skyport faction has an article, an amendment, and a footnote. And it offers up a lot of different playstyles. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So moving on, again...
I love this picture.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
This was one of the early art pieces we saw, and it was kind of like not squats, but very cool, powered, armored, air suits. So they're all about that money, though. They want that Urgold. And this is, this is what I was talking about, too. Some of the artwork. It looks different, right? Like
it does.
It's more hand-drawn feeling than some of the digital stuff we've seen before. Not saying they couldn't have done this digitally, but
yeah,
you do have that kind of feeling here. You also get this interesting thing, kind of shows you some hard data, some hard numbers. And this number here, capital, is not their population. That's the amount of Urgold they have. So
man, Urgold's just killing it.
Yeah, so you can kind of see which one's like wealthy and which one's not so much. They're kind of coming after your money. But moving on from here, you get a look at their hierarchy of the fleets and stuff like that. This is other cool pictures we saw too of like the sky beasts that they fight in the air. That looks kind of like an Iron Thiefkin.
Yeah,
one of the sharks,
or a big old Zinchi screamer, like a massive screamer.
But yeah, these dwarves, these Durden, I should say, Kharadron Overlords live in giant air cities, which is super cool, floating above the different realms. So very cool stuff. Moving on here, more artwork. Oof. Yeah, that's a classic one. Fighting a bloodthirster. That's got to be a fun time, right? Watch out for stuff with wings. And then we get the lore section for each type of unit. The Grun Corps, which of course are their gunners. We get to the model section. New model-wise, the only one that we saw in this book was the new
Engine Master.
Yep, Engine Master with a dirigible suit. So floating alongside the ship, making repairs, fighting off monsters. That's what they do. Moving along here, we still have some of the coolest vehicles in the game.
For sure, hands down.
And what's neat too is they actually have new garrison rules, which we'll talk about when we get to the vehicles. And it makes it for a little bit more interactive, a little bit more interesting to just
gives them
fight.
some staying power that they didn't have before.
For sure. It also ups their damage and then also ups the interactivity. And we'll get to what I'm talking about there in a minute. Allegiance abilities wise, you've got a couple of different things going on here. You've got the 6 different Skyport options that are kind of like in the lore of the major Skyports. If you want to do your own, you can create your own and have you can pick one article, one amendment, and one footnote from the tables below, or you can roll as well if you want to randomly generate it. They also can spend an ether gold, right? So each Kharadron Overlords hero, Sky Vessel, and Overlord unit with 10 or more models starts a battle with 1 share of ether gold. You can spend that gold over the course of the game. They lose permanently 1 leadership, but they can immediately take advantage of a triumph that they're eligible to use and apply the effect immediately, which could be interesting. So it's one of their unique effects. Yeah, let's take a look real fast. Oh, you got to show off these too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Command traits, you got a ton of those. Again, we've got the admirals here, engine masters only here, etheric navigators here, and then etheric aether chemist here. So you have a lot of options for command traits. So you can pick the army and build the army you want.
And then artifacts of power for
Same deal.
all the individual guys.
So you have a lot of options across the board. Great engine works.
Which are mount traits.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Right. So, yeah, these are for your Sky Vessels. So if you want to take like a Sky Vessel heavy army, which you can.
A Sky Vessel harmy was right. You were correct, because that's pretty harmy.
It will harm you. You can do some cool stuff with them. And then here we go with the different Skyports as well. We're going to take a look at Barrack Nar real fast. This is kind of the atypical one, the prototypical one, I should say.
Yeah.
But here's what I was talking about. They have their own ability, which is kind of mandatory. If you're playing this army, this is what you're getting. You get your own article, amendment, and footnote. Again, different from the other list. But they do different things. Like the articles mostly apply to the heroes or generals of your army. Mm-hmm. The amendments can apply to both your units, generals, etc. And the footnotes, kind of the same thing. They do different things across whatever subfaction you want to play. You get your new command traits as well, and then each one has their own special artifact of power. So on top of all the charts we saw previously, you get these two. So I don't know how many that total is, but it's quite a lot.
It's a bunch.
It's a bunch.
So I think it was, let's see, it was 9 because it was 3 of each.
Yeah.
And now you get 1 for each of these 6.
Yeah.
So it's...
Well, also the Admirals had 6, and the Engine Masters had...
We're talking about like artifacts of power and things, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were just talking about amendments and footnotes. It's gonna be a ton.
Yeah, you have a lot of options, which is super rad. So all those things going on, there's 6 different named Skyports that you kind of start with.
I like Barrack Thiring. Personally, they're my favorite because they can bring Fire Slayers.
Yeah. One of these bad boys can actually run a very heavy... the dirigibles.
Yeah.
Their Skyports. Or not Skyports, their vehicles.
Yeah.
Anyway. They have their own battle plan. Path to Glory rules, of course. They only had 4 different war scrolls, one of which is the big one, which I thought was a little odd. But, I mean, it is what it is. So, there you go. You've got your 4 different war scroll battalions and the 3 main ones here. I'm a little disappointed, if I'm honest. I thought we were going to see more battalions. But they don't have a ton of units, again, from their previous book to this one. There's just the 1 new extra one. So, it's not super surprising, I should say. Bork Grungson's back. Yep, he's the Lord Magnate of Barrack Nar. He's the richest of the rich guy. He's kind of in charge, so...
Which is why he gets mustache guns.
Right? He also has, like, the final vote, if you read through some of the lore. He's got the final say for something. If there's, like, a stalemate in their pseudo-senate, he's got the final say. I want to look over to... There's the Admiral, the Engine Master, the new guy here. Let's check his rules out real fast since he is brand new.
So many guns.
So many. He's got all the guns. He is flying because he's got the dirigible suit. Moves 12, 8 wounds, 3 up save, 8 bravery. 3 up save is pretty solid. That's pretty saucy. Different missile weapons.
8 wounds.
Yeah. At the start of your hero phase, you can pick 1 friendly Sky Vessel and heal 3 wounds on it, which is nice. You can also mess with them even more. So, Sky High ability is a new thing for the Kharadron Overlords. Basically, they can a Sky Vessel can declare they're going Sky High, and you
just teleport.
Teleport. You can teleport and pull it from the table and set them up basically 9 inches away from enemies back on the battlefield. So, and then there are certain units that can travel with them, like the Engine Master here, who can set up within 6 inches, wholly within 6 inches of the Sky Vessel, and more than 1 inch away from an enemy. So, very cool stuff where they can kind of yo-yo around the table and be surprisingly mobile. So, look how they also have their own, by Grungy, I have my Eye on You, which is a special ability too. It's a command ability. It's nominated an Engine Rigger unit, and they can reroll any of the dice to determine how many wounds are healed by the Engine Rigger's unit that phase. So, it's a way to get back wounds on your Sky Vessels.
Yeah.
So, pretty handy.
They're going to be cool. These guys just look amazing, though.
Yeah.
Like, they're so pretty.
You get, if you were playing Warhammer Underworlds, and you have the
Boomdrink's
Underworld
Profiteers.
They have a new War Scroll that's in the book now, which is very cool. Okay, let's talk Ironclad real quick. So, as you can see, just looking at this giant wall of text, the new ships have a lot of rules. Well, first off, they have a lot of stats, a lot of guns, and they have a lot of rules as well. What I wanted to talk about was how the units work that are actually on the models. So this counts as a transport, which again, the Kharadron Overlords were really the only army in the game that has transports.
Yeah.
So they have their own unique transport rules. So this one can transport up to 25 friendly Marine models, and they count as garrisoned. So if you're not familiar with that, what garrisoning a unit does is they're technically in the vehicle or in the terrain. In this case, it's not even a terrain piece, but they're inside. They can shoot and they can repel invaders now. So you can be attacked, which is kind of neat. A unit can charge you and fight the guys inside, not necessarily the vehicle.
That is super cool.
Yeah. So again, that's what I was talking about earlier with the interactivity of it of these ships now. It's just different and kind of cool. Now, if they do have that many guys, you do have to take some modifications to your movement because you're loaded down. So that's why the move has a asterisk by it. Yeah. Also, the models in the garrison are not counted towards gaining control of an objective. So if you do have those 25 Marines on board,
you got to drop them down.
You got to drop them down for them to count as taking an objective. You can't just park it. An attack made by a weapon that is in range of this model can target either the model or the unit in the garrison. So again, you can attack the guys on the ship or the ship itself. If the model is destroyed before it's removed from play, roll 1 die for each model. On a 1, that model is slain, and you set up any surviving models wholly within 3 and more than 3 inches away from any enemy units. So it's an interesting kind of way for them to interact, like I was saying. So
they're going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. And it's just very different. Like I said, it's the only army really with transports currently in the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just different. And again, you get the same kind of rules for the frigate, and I think even the gun hauler has some transportation abilities here. So there's different models too that I think they can still hook on and do things like that. So
yeah, I think the engine riggers hook on.
Yeah. So anyway, there's all that and more points obviously are included here too. But yeah, Kharadron Overlords, man.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I think compared to the previous book, this is going to be a bit of an update.
Absolutely. It might make them viable. I mean,
yeah.
No offense to the Kharadron Overlords, but they were not.
Yeah, they had some problems with the first iteration. They also suffered from the fact that they were one of the early books and haven't been updated since they came out, pretty much. Yeah. So now they're getting that first major update to kind of 2.0, and I think pairing them with the Tzinch update,
which
really
needed it too,
which both needed it. So they're coming out at the same time again with Aether War and this Battletome and the Zinch Battletome. So it's all hitting at the same time, roughly. Hopefully by the time you watch this video, if not sooner. So very cool stuff. Clint, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm AdamHarry from BoLS with Clint.
Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
click to subscribe. Check out more videos. And thanks for watching.